Hey there folks, and welcome back to System Talk. Today we're going to take a look at the Ellis system. It's a big one with 13 planets, well 12 actually, so we're going to have to switch things up a bit today. One thing to take note of though is that although this may be the order of the planets, this does not represent their actual distances, as the planets will almost certainly be staggered in their orbits. In other words, they won't be lined up in a line like this. So, anyhow, the Ellis system has a yellow star at its heart. Its unique characteristics give it an unusually large habitable zone for humans. In addition to humans, there's a lot of alien life there as well. And culturally speaking, the Ellis system has very little industry and relies heavily on tourism and space racing. The Ellis system is also in the heart of the UEE and is a jump hub for the systems around it. Alright, now onto the planets. The first planet, designated Ellis 1, is a small protoplanet that is bubbling with lava. It's so close to its parent star that it is oftentimes caught up in passing solar flares, and it goes without saying that human habitation here is impossible, which is a darn shame because it has some of the largest concentrations of rare minerals in the solar system. And many shamelessly brainless miners have tried to mine the mineral-rich planet only to die violently in the process. The second planet, designated Ellis 2, is a barren rocky world with a thick smoggy and stormy atmosphere. Its atmosphere is so violently stormy, in fact, that observers have considered it a minor tourist stop. Alright, now on to the habitable planets. Ellis 3, also known as Green, is the first habitable planet from its parent star. Despite its name, it is mostly an ocean world. This makes it a fantastic place for tourism, as there are plenty of beaches and coastlines. Green was, and still is, constructed to be a resort planet, and this makes it the ideal location to host the Murray Cup, which is the premier space race. We'll talk a little bit more about the Murray Cup in a little bit. And anyhow, due to the planned nature of the construction on this planet, there is only one landing zone located, not surprisingly, near a coast. Despite having so much water, any attempts to populate the oceans with organisms from Earth have been met with complete and total failure. This means there is little to no means to feed tourists and the native population on Green. Ellis 4, or Campos, is the second habitable planet in the Ellis system. Campos is a high-gravity ocean water world that is the most populous planet in the system. Campos has rich and diverse sea life, so if you ever get the, overwhelming urge to gut sturgeon, and who hasn't on occasion, then this is the world for you. Campos fishermen provide much of the food for the rest of the worlds in this system, as well as providing seafood for neighboring systems as well. Ellis 5, also known as Noble, is an average-sized forest world that has 2 moons. Strict building laws on this planet mean that nearly all of the forests are still intact and undisturbed by humans. Because of this, the only landing zone on the planet is near an unforested area near the South Pole. And just like Green, Noble is host to many tourists for the Murray Cup. So many so that many believe the forests of this planet are in danger because of the threat of tourist-induced urban sprawl. Alright, on to the next. Ellis 6, 7, and 8 are similar rocky bodies that lie just outside of the habitable zone of the Ellis system. In orbit above Ellis 6 is a research station for the UEE. The hopes are that research from this planet will help develop new terraforming technologies. The scientists from this station are known to be faithful consumers of luxury goods. Ellis 7 doesn't have much to note other than an extremely corrosive atmosphere that can damage unprepared ships that enter it. Ellis 8, similarly very uninteresting. The only remarkable thing about it is that it is one of the smallest planetary bodies in the Ellis system and has a very thin atmosphere. Ellis 9 is a gas giant that goes by the name Walleye. Walleye is the fuel stop location in the system. Everybody from merchants, military, and Murray Cup racers stop here to fuel. Along with these fuel stations, a copious amount of rest stops have popped up near them as well. If you don't have the money to fuel up here, Ellis 10 will be your stop of choice. Ellis 10, or Bombora, is a slightly smaller gas giant to Walleye. Bombora has hydrogen in its upper atmosphere layers, which allows ships to skim its atmosphere to fuel up. However, this can be very dangerous due to the violent nature of the atmosphere on Bombora. Ellis 11 was recently ripped apart and destroyed as its moon collided with it. As a result, there is a large debris field in its place that can be a danger to nearby navigating pilots. Ellis 12, which goes by the name of Judica, is an uninteresting frozen ball. The only activity that goes on this planet is the occasional ice mine. The final planet, Ellis 13, is known as Pinecone because of the strange rock formations that resemble them. Because of its unique service, there are an abundance of raw materials at the surface, which make it a popular destination for merchants and miners who want to gather raw, unrefined ores. Well, that's about it for planet information, and now on to the analysis. So, we know that the Ellis system is in the heart of the UEE, which means there will likely be quite a few military patrols as well as policed planets. This makes pirating and smuggling quite difficult. It certainly won't be easy, however, all of the easy places to pirate will be swarming with everybody and their brother trying to get a piece of the action, so good luck there. With greater risk in a system like this usually comes with greater reward. Specialization is the key to making money. If you can specialize in keeping a low profile, avoiding patrols, sensor, and cargo concealment, you may be able to eke out a living on this system, if you aim to misbehave. One more thing to note. Because of this system is in the heart of the UEE, some inexperienced or newer traders might get the false sense of security, making them easy targets if ambushed properly. And speaking of traders, let's talk about trade. On Ellis 1, you're not going to be able to do much. It's far too hostile of a planet to harvest its natural resources. Even though it has a large amount of rare resources at the surface, it's nearly suicidal to try to mine it. Maybe if you wait for better shielding technology to catch up with you, and you could take a trip down to the surface. But for now, it's a fool's errand trying to go after those resources. Ellis 2 is another planet with very little practical value. There aren't many valuable resources and minerals that have been discovered on this planet yet, and combined with the fact that it is uninhabitable, it will most likely be deserted most of the time. In fact, at this point in time there are no known landing zones. The most value anybody could possibly extract from this is if you take some tourists there to view the storms, and that's probably about it. Green, on the other hand, has a plethora of trading options available to it. Because Green is a massive tourist hub for the Murray Cup, you could expect a lot of disposable goods and high-quality food being consumed on this planet. Pair that with the fact that there is little to no manufacturing and food production here, that lends to some interesting trade options. Disposable goods would most likely have to be shipped in from out of system. These are most likely low-cost goods with little markup and little room for profit. Combine this with the fact that it is in a safe system, you'll probably have a lot of traders willing to make the risk. This will drive down costs even further. One could assume only traders with large cargo capacities and fuel-efficient engines could make this a viable option for profitable trade. The food situation on Green is a bit different. The neighboring planet Campos produces a lot of food, mostly seafood products. A route between Green and Campos would most likely be very viable. Again, a lot of traders would be willing to make this trip. However, I see at least two viable specialization routes for the traders to take. One would be a slow, large, fuel-efficient freighter that delivers lower-cost frozen seafood and other dry, non-perishable goods. The other would be a fast delivery service that could deliver fresh seafood and other perishable goods to Green for a higher markup and profit, to be delivered to the higher-end tourist places and resorts. This fast delivery service may be made interesting because of the high number of race and performance-oriented spaceships drawn to this system because of the Murray Cup. If the racers need to make a little bit of cash on the side, maybe this is the trade route to do it in. Another trade route for Campus would just be to trade out of the system. Noble could share the relation to Campos in the same way that Green does. However, food does grow on Green, making the relationship weaker and less essential. All this would lead to lower food margins for the traders doing these routes. Ellis 6 has a research station orbiting it. These researchers like to spend their hard-earned money on luxury goods. This can be a place for traders to bring goods in from out of system. Here, for a respectable profit, so long as the merchants don't overinflate the market with their goods. It'll be interesting to see how the dynamic economy plays out here. Ellis 7 and 8 are quite unremarkable. Little to any trade will be done with these, and perhaps the only way to make any money is to deliver supplies to the endeavoring prospector and expedition that may be happening on Ellis 7 and 8. However, Walleye is a large fuel depot and rest stop for those that live and pass through this system. One can reasonably assume that regular fuel shipments will be required to keep things running. It hasn't been specified yet if the fuel is produced from the Walleye atmosphere or if the fuel needs to be shipped in. Either case presents an opportunity for merchants, in particular the Starfarer pilots. If fuel is created on Walleye, it can be shipped out of system for a profit, and if it's not produced, it will have to be shipped in. The Starfarer pilots will have the best profit margins as their ships are specifically designed to transport large fuel loads. Bombora, the second gas giant in the system, has very little economic value, so we'll skip right on down to the debris field that is Ellis 11. Ellis 11 is the destroyed remnant of a planet and its moon. Although hard to navigate, there are plenty of mineable minerals floating around. These raw ores, once mined, could be shipped out of the system to get refined. The dangerous nature of this job may scare some of the greenhorn merchants away, allowing for merchants who do this trade route to make a larger profit over normal quote-unquote safe trade routes. Judica has little economic value other than its ice mines. The ice that is mined would most likely only service nearby planets that are in short supply of water and fuel. Possible trade route destinations may include the mines on Ellis 11 and the mines on Pinecone. Speaking of Pinecone, it is one of the larger trade destinations in the Ellis system. Pinecone has an unusually large amount of minerals at its surface, which results in a lot of raw ore being mined here. The most popular destination for the ore mined on Pinecone is Earth. One thing to take into account, though, is that Earth has massive tariffs on incoming goods, and this will inevitably reduce the profitability of these goods you sell. So you might want to find another place to sell your ore. That's about all I could come up with. Obviously, the economy is dynamic and the prices will vary, and not everything I said may be completely accurate, as a lot of it still might be based on speculation. However, that being said, I'm interested in hearing what you guys think. What do you think I was right on, and what do you think I was wrong on? Do you guys have any fun plans for this system? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.